Hello friends, we are back again with more NBA free agency coverage. I am Tom Downey, that is Jimmy Crowther. Been a lot going on here in the past couple hours here. So we're going to break down all the latest news, the rumors, the signings, some of the trade stuff that's gone down as well in terms of like finalizing stuff, and we'll keep you covered here all offseason long, at least until all the players have actually signed here. First up, the Jimmy Butler trade is officially done. They finally figured it out. It does not involve the Mavs, by the way. No longer included. It is now a complex 4-team trade involving the Heat, the Clippers, the Blazers, and the 76ers.
Yeah, I think both teams were finally just like, all right, forget the Mavs. They don't know what they want, so we're just going to go get this done with somebody else, and they did it. Heat, Clippers, Blazers, Sixers, like you said. And the main moving part here is Jimmy Butler going to the Heat. He gets that 4-year, $142 million from Miami, and then really all parties involved get a little bit of something that I think they all wanted. So, you know, good overall deal, the Heat coming out on top here.
So here are the 4-team trade. We don't have a 4-team trade graphic for you guys, so we're going to do two 2-team trade graphics there. Right? The Miami Heat, they get Jimmy Butler, they get Myers Leonard as well. This was part of that Hassan Whiteside trade. Sixers still get Josh Richardson. The Clippers are the 4th team that comes in here, replacing the Mavs. They get Mo Harkless and a future first-round pick from the Heat. We don't have the exact details on when that pick is, but it is down the road. And Portland, meanwhile, they get Hassan Whiteside. So all kinds of moving pieces here going on. For the Heat, meanwhile, they keep Goran Dragic, which I think makes sense because they had no point guard behind him.
Right.
I don't know who's going to play point there. Justice Winslow is the point forward? I don't know there. Butler, Bam Adebayo, he's your new long-term center. Hero comes off the bench to shoot. Kelly Olynyk is still there. Myles Leonard is still there. So the Heat end up getting Jimmy Butler. They keep Goran Dragic. Is this a playoff team?
I would say yes right now because they do have a star to go to, and I really like Goran Dragic. You get a full year of Dragic, that's pretty good for Miami. Could have been good for Dallas if all that mess didn't go through. And then now you also have Adebayo's got another year under his belt, and then Tyler Hero potentially could be something, even though I didn't love that pick. And then guys like Deion Waiters and other good, solid role players. I like Justice Winslow as well for Miami.
All right, meanwhile, the Portland Trail Blazers, this doesn't change from our earlier video on Hassan Whiteside here. He gives them extra depth at center. Again, it's a 1-year deal for Whiteside, so he'll be gone after this. This gives more recovery time for Jusuf Nurkic coming off his own injury.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be real. If Hassan Whiteside is locked in and he's healthy, he's a really good center. It just becomes, you know, maybe a good fresh start for him is the best thing. Maybe getting out of a locker room where he was the toxic part, maybe he goes somewhere else and becomes something good. They also, you know, picked up Mario Hezonja in free agency and then also drafted Nasir Little. I like what the Portland Trail Blazers are doing. Also brought back Rodney Hood.
All right, meanwhile, the 76ers, they have Al Horford. He is going to sign that deal once it's allowed to be made official there. Josh Richardson provides them some needed shooting there. Tobias Harris can still shoot. This is kind of more of a bigger lineup. This is like their size lineup, and you can work in Zaire Smith if you want and sit maybe Al Horford, put Richardson at the 3, Tobias at the 4, whatever there. Gives them added depth.
Yeah, I really love what Philadelphia is doing as well. You get 3 guys up front, or 4 guys really all around Ben Simmons that can all make a 3-pointer. I mean, they're all a threat to shoot. And, of course, Ben Simmons is not a threat to shoot whatsoever. You know, their bench is still weak. It was a problem. It showed in the playoffs that their bench depth is not good. But Matisse Thybulle, you know, bring back Mike Scott, and then if Zaire Smith can get healthy, that's a solid 3 coming off your bench for Philadelphia. Good recovery here after losing Jimmy Butler.
Are the Sixers still a playoff team there? Meantime, we'll talk about the Clippers here as well. Now, they bring in Mo Harkless, who could start if they want to move Shamet down to the bench, whatever there. What do you make of this Clippers unit now?
I don't think it really changes all that much. Everything that matters with the Clippers is Kawhi Leonard and what he ends up doing. And if he comes along, then yes, Mo Harkless will definitely come off the bench. If not, I think Mo Harkless has a good chance to start. I do like him. They were a playoff team last year, but I think the bottom of the West is getting a little tougher. If they don't get Kawhi, they could be edged out by the time the playoffs roll around.
We'll come back to how this impacts Kawhi in a little bit here, but first, where would you guys rather vacation? Type B for the beach, M for the mountains.
I am a beach kid.
Okay.
I grew up on the beach.
Yeah, because you put this in there. Who types in the mountains?
I know. That's okay, good. I'm glad you said that. But it's a beach thing.
Executive producer Brett, apparently.
I asked this because...
Guess who's in trouble now? This guy.
It's Los Angeles. It's the beach. It's nice. It's the Clippers. That's where potentially.
I do see some M's in there, by the way.
Okay, well they've never been to the beach then. They've probably only ever been.
But B's definitely win that one. Keep them flowing in there, folks. B or M.
Nice.
That's funny.
I guess we should say M or B here.
Yeah, should have done mountains first there. All right, we mentioned Kawhi. The Clippers are still in the mix here. I'll make note, in addition to the reporting on this trade, the claim was that Mo Harkless is now another piece the Clippers have to help surround Kawhi. And my response to that is, Mo Harkless doesn't do anything for you if you're Kawhi. Ooh, 7 points per game off the bench.
Hey.
Doesn't do anything.
Hey, okay, once he did get traded, I will say this. He got traded. He immediately jumps onto Twitter and asks if anybody has Kawhi Leonard's phone number. So he's already doing some recruiting. So who knows? Maybe it gets it done. I don't think so, though. It's a good piece. It's a good backup piece if they get Kawhi. He's a good starting piece if they don't. And if they ship off Danilo Gallinari's contract, he can step in for him as well. I like Harkless. He's not really a game changer, but all that matters for the Clippers is Kawhi Leonard.
Now, even with this trade of adding Harkless and bringing back Patrick Beverley, the Clippers do have the money to make a move and sign Kawhi Leonard to a max contract. 3 teams remain in the mix. The Clippers, Lakers, and Raptors. The Clippers, if you had asked them like 2 months ago, I think they would have said, yeah, we're going to get him.
Yeah.
That confidence is no longer there for them.
Here's kind of the Clippers from, let's start at 2 months ago, like you said. It's up here. And then the Raptors start doing well in the playoffs. The Raptors win a championship, and then it kind of flatlines into the offseason. All of a sudden, the Lakers get in the mix, and it's still flatlining, and it drops real fast. Because now, I think the the Lakers have the best chance to land Kawhi if he leaves Toronto. I still give the edge here to the Raptors.
So those are the top 3 teams there, and everyone really is now waiting on Kawhi. There will be some other moves, like the ones we get to here later on in the show, that aren't, groundbreaking, drastic moves, but mainly Danny Green, who we'll discuss here as well in a bit.
Yeah.
Everyone's waiting on Kawhi. And when and where will he sign?
Are you saying Tim Frazier to Detroit was not a groundbreaking move, Tom?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, the whole NBA is still waiting. The first domino fell, and then dominoes kept falling throughout the day on the first day of NBA free agency. And now we're about a day in, and what does Kawhi do?
So here's the question. When does Kawhi Leonard sign? Not where, but when?
I think he's going to hold off until July 4th, and then once the first firework pops off on July 4th, he's gonna be an even bigger firework.
Lame.
There.
If he waits and does all that, that's outright lame there in the end. Let's move then to Andre Iguodala. Got traded to the Grizzlies in a salary dump so the Warriors could make room for D'Angelo Russell. More on him here in a little bit, by the way, folks. You think Memphis buys him out in the end?
I mean, I would imagine, unless all of a sudden they think, man, Kyle Korver and Andre Iguodala, those are going to be our 2 vets.
Well, I mean, they brought back Valanciunas. They didn't go after just picks in the Marc Gasol trade. They wanted
I know, but Valanciunas is like 26, 27.
That's true.
He can still be a part of a good young core, and he's not a guy that relies on explosiveness, so he can develop with this young core and stay there. Iguodala, on the other hand, is not a fit, and I think Iguodala wants to go somewhere where he can continue to compete for a championship, and it ain't in Memphis, at least for the next couple of years.
Yeah, so I think Iggy would like to be out there. He made some comments about the Warriors medical staff, and they shipped him out real quick there. He was the odd man out there. I do think if he does hit the open market, there's going to be a lot of interest in Andre Iguodala here. Warriors got cap space for D'Angelo Russell. 1 pick going to Memphis, a 2024 first-round pick with some protections on it, which could actually end up being very high in the end there.
I kind of can't believe
I
can't believe there weren't more teams willing to jump on the, hey, we'll take on space for Iggy deal and a first-round pick. I know 2024 is a long ways out, but think about it. Golden State Warriors could be trending pretty far downward by 2024, and that first-round pick could actually be pretty valuable, not to mention a quality role player in Iguodala.
All right, so where will Iggy play next season? Let us know in the comments section. All right, Jimmy on the spot. What's your prediction here?
I predict he goes wherever Kawhi goes, except Toronto. So if it's because he can't, the money doesn't work.
Okay, so he goes to L.A.
He goes to one of the LA teams. It's either the Clippers or the Lakers, and man, it's going to be interesting to watch.
All right, let's stick here with some former Warriors. That's Kevin Durant, who apparently was upset about all the stuff in Golden State because snakes have feelings too, everybody.
Ooh,
and Durant, he didn't feel respected there. And then on top of this, by the way, today the Warriors announced they're retiring Kevin Durant's jersey.
Yeah, how about that for a curveball?
Okay.
Just, the most random little nugget thrown in there throughout everything else that's going on.
That means you're retiring Curry's jersey, Klay Thompson's jersey, Draymond's jersey, and Iggy's jersey. I mean, you have to retire the entire.
The first three aren't that crazy, but Iggy's probably going to get retired. I think he will.
If
but
you did it for Durant, you have to do it for Iggy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think it's ridiculous that they are doing it for Kevin Durant. Yeah, he brought him 2 championships in the 3 years he was there, but it was 3 years. I don't know anybody that's going to get a jersey retirement ceremony for playing for a franchise for 3 years. I don't get it.
And so this is the Nets lineup. Of course, we'll include Durant on there, who's not going to play this year. So, keep, I don't know, Courage in there. Maybe you want to go with the big man lineup, but probably not there. Maybe Prince plays in there some, but it's a dangerous team here.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun team to watch, see how they play out next season. Maybe there is a chance. If Jared Allen could get a halfway decent mid-range jump shot, I guess you could put him at the 4, but I don't see it likely, and then DeAndre Jordan starting at center. But obviously, you can't hate on what the Nets did here at all. It's just going to be a waiting game. Develop what you have together this season, and then 2 years you get Kevin Durant, and you're competing for titles.
All right, folks, so did Golden State deserve to lose Kevin Durant? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Hold on here. In the meantime, people accuse us of asking if this is pre-recorded. No, it's not. Oh, shit, I lost whose name it was there. No, we are live. I think it was, I don't know who said it. Also, who was it? Let me scroll down the bottom of my doc here. Shout out TJB239 Darkblade. He says, bet you $1,000 you won't give me a shout out. Just did. My Venmo is at whatgoingdowny. Company people, I promise to share it with you.
Yeah, we can split
promise
that 2
to share
ways.
it. They're not looking. Promise to share
at
it.
Jimmy_Crowther, that's another one you can hit, or Dash Crowther. Crap, I don't know my Venmo name, so I guess you can't send it to
Bosh,
me.
at whatgoingdowny. Jimmy, I promise I'll share it with you too. All right, you guys keep asking about this one. Could the Warriors trade D'Angelo Russell again? Now, there was the report from Mark Stein that said that it's a matter of if not when the Warriors trade D'Angelo Russell. But he cannot be dealt until mid-December. So there cannot be another trade in the next week or in the next month. That is not how things work. Excuse me, I might have misspoke. It's a matter of when, not if. Thank you, producer Brett, for that one. So, yes, D'Angelo Russell could be traded here, but it's not going to happen now.
Right.
It's not an immediate thing, and it cannot happen with the way the NBA CBA works. He cannot be dealt until mid-December, so they have to wait. Now, maybe things change at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Maybe more likely things change next year, because I think the Warriors view this as a multi-year asset. That this was the trade that they got back for, and it was their only option. Acquire the asset now, then figure that out.
Yeah, I actually think D'Angelo Russell is an underrated off-the-ball type player. So I actually think he and Steph Curry could do really well next year together. And I think another thing this does for D'Angelo Russell is even though he kind of already grew in Brooklyn, he wasn't being groomed by anyone, if that makes sense. But he goes to Golden State, and, he gets to learn under Steph Curry. I know they're not the same kind of player or anything like that, but you get to learn under a stud point guard while you're still young. Maybe you get dealt to a team and you, again, go somewhere and make that your team, and you could get an even bigger pay raise once this contract's up or, lead a team to a championship eventually.
So, again, the Warriors did trade for D'Angelo Russell. He cannot be dealt until mid-December at the earliest. So, Timberwolves, you're not going to get him in the near future. However, Minnesota, good news for you. You got the scraps of this deal.
Yep.
You've ended up with Shabazz Napier and Trayvon Graham here. It's funny, Jimmy, how 48 hours ago, the Timberwolves were saying, we're going to get D'Angelo Russell. We can make this work. We've got it. And then today they're like, we got the scraps.
Yeah. Talk about a downgrade from D'Angelo Russell to Shabazz Napier. It's really confusing to me that Minnesota would be willing to facilitate a trade that would send their guy to a Western Conference competitor. And now...
I think that they were not getting him.
Well,
so
they knew
got
that.
Somebody.
But it's still somebody, kind of. You put both of them together, then it's a somebody. Right now, it's a half of somebody and another half somebody. But I don't know. It is what it is for Minnesota. I think it's just it's kind of going to be kind of awkward in the Minnesota locker room now because Karl-Anthony Towns was ready to ship off his buddy Andrew Wiggins, and now that's not happening.
Yeah, so Minnesota kind of in a weird spot there again. So this is part of that large three. It's now a three-team sign-and-trade. Funny how you and I were mentioning like a couple of days ago of how sign-and-trades typically don't happen. They're really complicated. They're confusing. We've had multiple ones during this NBA free agency period. Yeah, a ton. Like probably more than I'm assuming we've seen in a long time. I don't know the exact numbers on how many sign-and-trades have happened, but interesting for sure. All right, folks, we do have some other news here for you guys involving Minnesota. Jordan Bell has agreed to a deal with Minnesota. Yeah. Coming over from Golden State. So Golden State and Minnesota are intertwined multiple times now throughout this offseason. Jordan Bell, of course, is a restricted free agent. That is something that's going to have to be taken into consideration when Minnesota signs him to an offer sheet that, they could, I guess, match, but I don't think they really have any interest in that. If they're going after Looney at that point, I don't think that's the case here. Now, I will make note here, if I'm remembering correctly, this is off the top of my mind here, if it's an offer sheet, it has to be at least 3 years and fully guaranteed, right? Mm-hmm. I think you're right. So I don't know if you're going to see Golden State match that one. I think it's a little bit more likely to say, okay, Jordan, thanks, great, go have fun in Minnesota, go be a backup forward center type guy like you kind of were here. We're going to stay focused on retaining Looney, which as of right now, I think looks pretty good for Golden State. Yeah, Houston doesn't really make much sense. They're the Bulls who visit with Looney are off the market there. That's true. I think one team that still has a lot of cap space and doesn't have a whole lot of places to spend it is Dallas, and they can use some front court depth. So I'd watch out for them to overpay for Kevon Looney to get him away. But look, I actually like this deal for Minnesota. He didn't get a lot of run this past year in Golden State because of how they were built and kind of, his knuckleheadedness. But now he goes to Minnesota. I would assume he could start alongside Karl-Anthony Towns as a bigger power or an undersized kind of big man. I don't think it's a bad day. I think it's a good risk for Minnesota. I like to pick up there for Minnesota. It's probably going to be at the mid-level exception, be my guess. So I really have no idea. I'm predicting the numbers here. I'm going to go with 13. That'll come in about 9 per average there. So 13, 20, or 3 over 28. Somewhere in that range is my guess here on what this deal will look like for Jordan Bell in Minnesota. Now, on an unrelated note, but a fun one, what's your favorite soda? Jimmy put this together. What's your favorite soda? Did you actually drink soda? I did this because Minnesota. Look at that. Yeah. Because I knew this deal was going to I knew this deal was going to happen, so I threw it in there. But that's good. Texas born and raised, can't pass up on a good Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper is a very good choice. It goes with absolutely any meal. I also like root beer. I'm a big root beer guy, too. But I'd go with a Dr. Pepper over a A&W root beer. Most days. What about you? I see Coke, root beer, Dr. Pepper. Lots of Cokes. Coke seem to be winning there. Someone, Will Walker, said a Baja Blast. That's delicious. That's pretty good. I will admit. I'm a big fan of Mountain Dew. There was a while where I drank way too much Mountain Dew, but I've cut that back. Good. That was college. I just had Mountain Dew. There's a lot of bad side effects to drinking a lot of Mountain Dew, apparently. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but it's not good for us. I'm not concerned about that. Sprite, Cherry Pepsi. Someone also threw in Coors Light, which is not a beer, by the way. All right, the Wizards here, their interest in Isaiah Thomas. Now, I mentioned earlier today, Isaiah Thomas was in a weird spot because he's a weird fit. Like, okay, he needs to have the ball in his hands. He's an inefficient scorer at this point, coming off the injuries there. He's a downside on the defensive end. How does he fit? Where does he go where a 9th or 10th man needs to have the ball in his hand to make sense? But Washington, I think, actually does make a lot of sense for him. I mean, it does because, they need a point guard while John Wall's sitting out Ish Smith, now. Okay, that's fine. Do both. I kind of forgot they picked up Ish Smith. But, yeah, take a risk on Isaiah Thomas. Hey, if he pans out, and then, maybe if he kind of gets back to where he was, which I don't think is likely as of right now, then you got something good going with him and Bradley Beal while John Wall is out. But, look, this is just kind of a year where Isaiah Thomas is going to have to get a contract somewhere and prove himself in the NBA because and that's going to be tricky because he kind of tried to do that with Denver and even LA and the Cavs over the past couple of years, and it hasn't worked out for him. Now, in large part, that hip injury he's not been the same afterwards. Yeah, he's just been in a revolving door of teams. Did not play much for Denver. He still offers the scoring. He's had an incredible career given where he was drafted and the massive size issues he has, but I do think the Wizards, this is the type of move that makes a lot of sense for you because even if Isaiah Thomas is great, doesn't actually it's not going to make you all of a sudden, oh no, now we're 8 seed.
Right.
Like, it's not going to swing it enough one way or the other. He's cheap. It's way better. Even going with Isaiah Thomas and Ish Smith, their current projected starting point guard, it's a way better deal than like Terry Rozier at almost $20 million.
Oh, 100%.
As I continue to slam that deal.
I know you too. But
it was awful.
You know, they don't have any money, so just going and signing Isaiah Thomas to whatever they can, I guess, is fine. And then Isaac Bonga's coming off the bench, I guess, but I don't expect him to really stick in the league. It's not really looking likely. But Rui Hachimura and Bradley Beal, those are kind of your two main pieces. They did bring back Thomas Bryant, and then, hey, maybe they want to run a veteran lineup with Dwight Howard and Isaiah Thomas as your leaders on the court. That would be quite the
yes. All right, folks. So does Isaiah Thomas have anything left in the tank?
I hope so.
Who would you rather have? Like, just you're picking him up in just to have on your roster, Carmelo Anthony or Isaiah Thomas?
Isaiah Thomas, 100 times out of 100, because Isaiah Thomas. Because he played in 12 games last season, and Carmelo Anthony played in 10. That's why.
Now let's go to some trade talks here. How about Kris Dunn? The Bulls have put him on the trade block. Remember, they drafted Kobe White. They got Tomas Satoransky in a sign-and-trade with the Wizards, who we just mentioned. They seem to be done on done.
Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah, it's definitely time for them to move on. He wants to move on. They drafted Kobe White. That's kind of the biggest thing there is, you know, they need to groom him. That's what it's all about this next year is grooming Kobe White alongside Levine, Markkanen, Wendell, and maybe Otto Porter if you want him to stick around as well. But Kris Dunn, poor guy. I kind of believed in him coming out of college, and then he got to Minnesota, was a flop. Got to Chicago, had a couple nice games, but didn't do it consistently, and now they're looking to move him.
I still think he can be a backup point guard, but he's not going to be a scoring guy. His scoring game is never going to develop, but the defense makes him somewhat valuable. Now, I don't know if you can get a trade partner, though.
Defensively and just as I think he's a good, floor general. I think if you put him out there with a second unit, he can kind of run the floor and he can run the offense for you. I think he's a smart guy, but again, offensively limited, so that hurts him a lot.
And here's the Bulls' current lineup here. Thaddeus Young, they picked him up in free agencies. Satoransky, they also picked him up. If they move Kris Dunn, it could free up more minutes for, say, Chandler Hutchinson.
Oh,
example, yeah. Which I think could make some sense there. And they want to feature Kobe White. The move to pick up Tomas, I think, was a very clear sign that the Bulls were just fully prepared to move on from Kris Dunn.
Yeah, I agree. And I do like this young core that Chicago has going forward. Not a playoff team yet, but soon.
Yep. All right, folks, want to say welcome to all of the new people watching us here on YouTube. Make sure you are subscribed. We're aiming to get to 125K. We did 2,000 subscribers last night. Dang. I think you guys can do more. We already have 2,000 of you watching right now. I bet not all of you are subscribed. We're going to be live again tomorrow morning and again later on in the evening. That's on Tuesday here with all of the latest around the NBA in terms of rumors, news, all those types of deals. So make sure you guys are subscribed here. And a big thank you to everyone watching for the first time, or if you're watching for the fifth time and haven't subscribed, I mean, just hit the button at this point.
Get her done.
It'll be fun here. All right, if you guys missed it earlier, Jimmy Butler to the Heat, that trade is done. They finalized it finally.
Yeah. Agreed to the 4-year, $142 million deal. It was all contingent on getting this sign and trade deal done. Had something last night on the first day of free agency lined up to go with the Mavs, and then everything got confused. Everybody got confused, and it fell apart. So now, instead of going 3-team trade, they go 4-team. You get the Heat, Clippers, Blazers, and Sixers all involved.
Convoluted.
Super. Biggest moving part is Jimmy Butler to Miami.
All right, 2 at a time here. Here's what the trade looks like. The Miami Heat, they, of course, get Jimmy Butler. Myers Leonard comes in on a previously reported trade involving Portland, but that was not enough. They needed to find a second team there. Of course, the Sixers still get Josh Richardson. The other team is actually the LA Clippers. They get Mo Harkless from the Portland Trailblazers. They also pick up a first-round pick. That was the benefit of LA taking on Harkless for a year. They get a future first-round pick from Miami, and Portland lands Hassan Whiteside as well. Which I think that pick, I think it's going to be 2023.
Okay.
I think that's the earliest they could do a pick, but maybe it could even be later than that. I'm sure there's some protections on that as well. But that's what that deal looks like. In the end, Butler goes to the Miami Heat.
Yeah. Biggest pickup there is Butler to Miami. They also get some security now that Hassan Whiteside's gone and Myers Leonard to back up Bam Adebayo. Clippers go out and get a quality role player in Mo Harkless along with the pick. And then Philadelphia gets something back for losing Jimmy Butler and Josh Richardson, who would likely start on this 76ers team.
Now, even with that trade of acquiring Harkless and re-signing Patrick Beverley, the Clippers still have the money available to go after Kawhi Leonard. Now, he is going to take his time. Well, we don't know when he's going to make his decision, but we still wait. 3 teams remain in the mix. The Raptors, Clippers, and the Lakers. Those are the 3 teams interested in Kawhi that can afford him. Nobody else really makes sense.
Yeah, and he's the last big domino to fall here in free agency, really. I mean, we kind of know where everybody else is going. I guess the only other big question mark outside of Kawhi is like DeMarcus Cousins, and he is not even anywhere close to the level that Kawhi is, because this is the #1 name, and he's taking his time. He's going to ramp up the meetings these next couple days. I wouldn't be surprised to see him extend it into the July 4th, and then hopefully he's decided by then and we can all just enjoy the rest of free agency.
Again, those top 3 teams are the Clippers, Lakers, and Raptors. If you're commenting about the Mavs or literally anyone else, it ain't going to happen.
You sure?
It's not happening there.
Sure.
All right, now once Kawhi signs, Danny Green should be close to follow.
Yeah, I mean, buddy, and you know they went from San Antonio together to Toronto together and could end up wherever he goes next together. Now, if he goes to the Clippers, Danny Green they do not have enough money to sign Danny Green now after getting this deal done and Mo Harkless goes there. They're still interested. It doesn't mean they can get it done.
Unless you want to see like the vet minimum or something.
Right. If Kawhi goes back to the Raptors, I think Danny Green back to Toronto is almost a done deal.
Unless the Lakers throw money at him.
If Kawhi goes to the Lakers, then Danny Green is basically falling right into the Dallas Mavericks' lap, and apparently they are the front runner for him if Kawhi leaves. That's according to actually a guy that co-hosts a podcast with Danny Green, so I assume he knows pretty good amount.
I assume the sourcing is sound there.
You
All right,
think.
The Dallas Mavericks there, they do make sense. They've added some extra role players of late here. Tim Hardaway, though, would go to the bench, and Danny Green starts over Hardaway there.
Absolutely, and then you have a really good defensive and shooting guard in Danny Green to go right there, and it kind of makes up for the lack of defense with Luka Doncic there and possibly Jalen Brunson as your starting point guard. They did sign Seth Curry, who will come off the bench, along with potentially Hardaway if they go and get Green. Brought back BAREA, Kleba, and then extended Powell, and of course Gabe Porzingis, that big.
More on the other deals that have happened today here in a little bit, folks. The Lakers, meanwhile, they got 3. We'll talk about Troy Daniels, but he's not going to start for you.
Now,
you would hope.
If Danny Green, or if Kawhi Leonard does go to the Clippers, I'd still expect the Lakers to pursue Danny Green really, really hard because he would be a perfect starting 2 guard alongside all of these guys.
Great fit, defense and shooting.
I think, maybe if they can't find a good point guard, maybe they shy away from giving it to him because they do need someone to run that offense. I know LeBron can do it. He will do it a majority of the time, but I think they're going to go hard after Danny Green if they get the chance.
And then the Raptors, meanwhile, 2 big question marks. Shooting guard and small forward spots for Danny Green and Kawhi.
It's literally all they're holding out hope for. And if it doesn't happen, then I guess you throw in Anunoby at the small forward position, and maybe Van Fleet is your new starting shooting guard. I don't know where Toronto goes from there.
I think Powell starts at the 2 guard at that point.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility.
And Anunoby is your small forward.
Yeah, I like that. And in all reality, pretty
Still
good recovery for the Toronto Raptors.
Just means a lot more of your future is based on Pascal Siakam taking another big step forward there. All right, so what's the best landing spot for Danny Green? Type DAL for Dallas, LAL for the Lakers, and TRO for the Toronto Raptors.
TOR.
Yeah, what did I say?
I
said TRO. Yeah, TOR.
Yeah,
Toronto.
And we're leaving the Clippers off of this because it's literally only if Kawhi Leonard goes there. Otherwise, they will not have even a sniff at Danny Green. But I'm going to say Dallas right now because he has a good enough role. He has a solid starting role there, and it's solidified that he's going to be an important part of their offense and their defense. Now, look, if Kawhi goes back to Toronto, it's Toronto, no doubt.
I will say, I think the chat is giving it to the Lakers here, by the way. And speaking of LA, do you like him or hate him? Let us know. Really not much of an in-between there. At least for most fan bases.
I'm going to stay completely neutral and definitely not announce to our watchers that I am not a big fan of the Los Angeles Lakers.
Okay, so you're kind of doing that little lame thing there. But like or hate, let us know. I see some ties. I guess you can throw in tie there if you want as well. Boy, I'm seeing a lot of LAL, which I think is still tied up to that last one there. I don't see very many likes.
I don't know. Well,
now they're kind of flowing.
Now they're kind of flowing in. I don't like or hate them.
I'll say it's 50-50, which, I mean, we know there are a lot of LA fans watching, and then if you're not an LA fan, you don't always like them there in the end.
I'll say this, I'm a LeBron fan. I always have been. So there's that.
If I include the LALs here, I do think the likes have it.
Okay.
In the end.
That's fair.
All right, folks, so keep those coming in here. Like or hate about the Lakers. Move then to the signings that have happened since we were last on air here. Enes Kanter going to the Boston Celtics, 2 years, $10 million. What do you make of this one, Jimmy?
You didn't love this, if I'm right. If I'm correct.
I like Kanter. I don't necessarily love his fit with Boston because he's better as a scoring big man. Did you need more scoring? I kind of wanted to see some defensive help at center. I don't know if the money would have worked out. I would have preferred Willie Cauley-Stein with his fit on Boston, even though I think Kanter is the better player, if that makes sense.
See, I'm going to disagree. I actually really like the fit of Enes Kanter in Boston, especially if Robert Williams pans out, because all Robert Williams is a defensive center. So you have a pretty even keel mix of Kanter and then Robert Williams if he pans out.
You banking on Robert Williams?
It's a huge if. Actually, you know who I'm banking on?
Grant Williams?
It's a man by the name of which we cannot say here on Chat Sports.
Stop it. Oh, no. I'm not even engaging in that one there. So Kanter to Boston, a 2-year, $10 million deal. That's the MLE for Boston. All right, Seth Curry, the Mavericks finally did something.
Finally.
And, in a way, it still kind of qualifies as a re-signing. And it's not really a new player, but it also kind of is.
No, yeah, I mean, it kind of is, it kind of isn't. I think one of the big things for the Dallas Mavericks here was that, Seth Curry had a career breakout year in Dallas 2 years ago, and then he had injury, he had a surgery, and he had to miss the entire 2017-2018 season. And then they saw him play in 74 games with the Portland Trail Blazers, and they were like, okay, let's bring him back. And I think, it was a pretty easy deal to give him $8 million a year. I think that's a pretty fair deal for the Dallas Mavericks, who need shooting like Seth Curry.
All right, we'll stick with the Mavs here. Maxey also returning on a deal.
Yeah, I mean, huge defensive player for them. He's turning into a really good stretch four that can also play the center position at this point. A lot of people may not even really realize who Maxey Kleber was, but there was talks that he was going to get close to a $10 million offer per year from a team like Atlanta. Obviously, it didn't happen, and now he's going back to Dallas.
And I think this is a fine deal. And I'll make note for Dallas here, by the way, they don't have to sign him just like Kristaps Porzingis, so this does not impact their cap space right now.
Right.
They just have to hold that cap hold, and then they'll go over the cap to re-sign him.
And another quick note about Kleber here. The deal is reported at $35 million with a lot of incentives. So it sits more at 33 with, if he meets these incentives, it gets up to 35. So, not that that's a huge difference.
All right, JJ Barea also heading back to the Dallas Mavericks. A one-year deal. It's worth $2.5 million. It's the vet minimum, therefore also does not impact the Dallas Mavericks cap space here.
Correct. Tore his Achilles last year after actually having a really good season. He's nearing the end of his career. I predict he plays about 2 more years, maybe even just next year, and then he's done, depending on how he reacts to that Achilles tear. Something that was also pointed out
He is 35, by the way.
Right, but his game's not like, it doesn't matter, like, how old he is. It's just, because he's so, he's not explosive or anything like that. It's not his game. But another thing here is, wouldn't be surprised that if the Mavs don't spend that cap space, if they just give him more money for being so loyal to their franchise.
All right, Michael Carter-Williams heading back to the Orlando Magic was a bit role player for them, but it's a one-year deal again worth the vet minimum here.
And I like this because once they got into the playoffs and near the end of the season, he actually played some really valuable spot minutes at the point guard position. He's not a shooter. His game doesn't really translate into today's NBA. It was great when he was Rookie of the Year, and then, slowly he's just been trending downward. But I like it. You bring back a guy who helps you near the end of the season in Michael Carter-Williams and gives you some assurance if Markelle Fultz does not pan out. I actually really do like it, and I think a lot of people will give Carter-Williams some hate, but we'll see what happens.
I move then to Austin Rivers here. He has re-upped with the Houston Rockets. What do you make of this one?
It's kind of just like we're going to bring back all of our guys that we have to because we can go over the cap to bring them back, So they brought back Gerald Green already. They brought back Daniel House, and then now you get Austin Rivers back. It's just all guys that are familiar with the system and fit in as a bench role player.
Rolling it back for one more year, it looks like, for Houston.
Yeah, it's looking that way. I don't think they're going to look to dump Clint Capella. Definitely aren't looking to trade Chris Paul at this point. It's going to be a weird year in Houston.
All right, question for you guys is if I'm wearing shoes right now. Which is kind of weird, but
I want to know because I know. I want to know if they know.
I actually do have the habit of taking them off during shows.
Do you really?
Sometimes, yeah.
I've never even noticed
It's
that.
normally when I'm standing and my feet start to hurt that I take them off.
It looks like most people don't think you are wearing shoes, is what I'm getting right now. And they're rolling in. They're very excited about this vote. So
a lot of twos here. Well, you're all wrong. I am wearing shoes. Jimmy
totally
can
lying.
confirm.
He's lying.
No, I'm not. I don't want to put my foot up here because I honestly...
Let me see.
Look, their shoes are
Oh my!
on.
He's literally not wearing shoes
Yes,
right
they
now
are.
underneath the desk.
Can I throw them up on the desk, producer Brett? Alicia, am I allowed to do that right now, or is that too weird?
I don't want your bare feet on the desk.
I don't know if I have the flexibility to try it, but can I?
I don't want your bare feet on the desk.
All right, I'm gonna try and not kick everything over here.
Guys, he literally just put shoes on just to pull it up on the
Look at
desk.
that flexibility.
He literally just put those on.
I'm gonna
as we
tear
were
my
talking.
groin doing this.
Ew, that sucks.
I don't have the flexibility.
I'm uncomfortable.
All right, let's move then to the Lakers and Troy Daniels. Good stretch. Lakers did something, Jimmy.
Yeah, something. Good shooter. You know, it doesn't cost him anything because it is the vet minimum, so it's not like they're eating into their cap space or anything. All that matters right now for the Lakers is what the heck is Kawhi Leonard going to do. If he goes to the Lakers, then hey, good for them. They don't have to worry about signing anybody else. They're going to, they could literally run a 5-man lineup with Kawhi, Troy Daniels, LeBron, AD, and Kuzma. But this is just a good low-cost veteran.
I'd be like an 8th or 9th man in theory, offers you some shooting at that 2-guard position, but he's not a guy you necessarily want starting.
If he's starting, the Lakers did something wrong in free agency.
All right, ELFRID Payton, the Knicks continue to find guys on 2-year deals with that second year being a team option.
Ugh.
Payton goes to the New York Knicks. I also want to make a note here in general, and I won't spend too much time on the Knicks side of things because we're going to talk about them more later. They're just adding all kinds of depth guys.
Yeah. I mean,
and often in positions where they kind of already had depth.
Yeah, it's basically they're bolstering their bench, which really bolsters their starting lineup because they don't have a starting lineup right now.
Knicks have the best bench in the NBA.
Yeah, that's great, but their whole team is bench players, except for R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle.
Yep.
So,
all right, let's go to elite headshot Robin Lopez. He's joining up with brother Brook in Milwaukee.
that's cool. I like
Lopez
it.
Bros.
I don't even just like it as a as a storyline with brothers teaming
fit.
up. I think it is a good fit, and it's an upgrade at the backup center position. What Ilyasova was their backup big? I think last season. So
Stretch 4, whatever. He
Yeah.
might start. I don't know.
definitely an upgrade, and he's a banger that you can get down low. I like it a lot. I hope we see a Brook and Robin duo sometime in the same lineup in Milwaukee.
All right, let's move then to some more big men. Nerlens Noel to Oklahoma City again.
Yeah, because he was there last year, and then he said he was going to resign, and then he pulled out of the deal, and then they got Mike Muscala, and now Nerlens Noel's back.
Time's a flat circle? I don't know.
I don't know. I thought being a Clutch Sports client, he was going to the Los Angeles Lakers. I thought it was a done deal. I thought LeBron called him and said, hey, wait till we get Kawhi, and then you can come team up with us. But he's going back to Oklahoma City, and I think it's good. They needed that backup center, and that's what they just got. So he backs up Steven Adams unless they trade him, and they go from there.
All right, another big man here. Frank the Tank Kaminsky going to Phoenix.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it because I think
don't care.
I think he'll have something to offer. What this really does is Rashawn Holmes got signed by the Sacramento Kings, so they said, hey, we got to get a new big man. They are going to run it with Frank the Tank and Ricky Rubio are their 2 new big additions in Phoenix, along with Cameron Johnson as their drafting. So congrats, Phoenix.
Okay. More other notable-ish moves. Edmond Sumner going back to the Pacers here, a 3-year deal. I think it's going to be on the minimum. I don't even know if it's going to be fully guaranteed, by the way.
I'm going to hand this one off to you to continue to talk about because I don't have a lot of notes here on Edmond
He played
Sumner.
at Xavier. He was great there. He's not going to be a key player. He's going to be like that 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th man, but the Pacers seem to like him. They want to kind of develop him a little bit more. If he's playing major minutes, something's gone wrong. But cheap-ish.
All right, so that's your rundown on Edmond Sumner.
All right, Wesley Matthews, he's heading to Milwaukee on a minimum contract, giving the Bucks some more shooting and scoring off the bench.
I actually really like this move by Milwaukee. I think Wesley Matthews is not the player he was in Portland. He's really, just never going to be the same after tearing his Achilles. But a good shooter. He's a good defender. They lost Malcolm Brogdon, and, Wesley Matthews is like a really old Walmart version of Malcolm Brogdon. If you think about it, he's just not the point guard playmaker that Brogdon is, but he brings shooting and defense.
All right, Rashawn Holmes, he's going to the Kings as they just keep acquiring veterans to help off the bench.
Random move, but he kind of backs up Dwayne Dedmon. I also put this note in here that possibly some Harry Giles insurance off the bench, because Harry Giles, they expect to take a big step forward.
But he's always hurt.
But if he doesn't, yeah, or if he's hurt, then Rashawn Holmes is kind of your lob threat, springy, fun, athletic big man.
All right, the Thunder signed Mike Muscala, Nerlens Noel, and ALEC Burks. Jimmy, I am convinced there's a trade coming involving some combination or just individually of Steven Adams, Dennis Schroeder, or Andre Roberson.
Interesting.
Something's going to come because they got to get under the luxury tax. Signing guys does not help them do that.
I like the ALEC Burks signing.
Me too.
They needed shooting, and that's exactly what Burks does. He also had some really good time with the Cavaliers. I know it's the Cavaliers, but good.
Still counts.
Yeah, good little random pickup here for the Thunder.
One last kind of random pickup. Tim Frazier had that magical month-long run with the Pelicans. Now with the Detroit Pistons, giving them some more depth on the point guard spot.
Not even kind of random. This is completely and utterly random. Now they just signed Derrick Rose. They have Reggie Jackson. Literally all the Pistons have done this offseason is get a point guard.
And Tony Snell.
Yeah, and they acquired Tony Snell.
They needed wings and guards, and they found some more there.
I guess so. I think Tim Frazier's just kind of like a quality assurance kind of guy. You just hope that nothing goes wrong with Derrick Rose, but if it does, we got Tim Frazier waiting in the wings.
Yeah, Frazier I think is a quality pickup there. Again, that's pretty much the vet minimum, so they can afford him, even though the Pistons are out of cap space. So you'll see some of these deals here flow into the next couple of days of random players getting signed there. But Detroit signs Tim Frazier, a 1-year, $2 million deal. That, folks, are all of the latest NBA signings here on day 2 of NBA Free Agency.